So I started out as a musician like so many other people. You know, when I was a teenager, this was the 90s. This was the time of alternative rock and grunge bands. It was a very exciting time in music, and I got kind of sucked into that momentum and started playing with my friends. And this was in Chicago area, and we actually had a basement, which was great. We could go down there and we could play our hearts out. So from there I was like, well, how do we actually record ourselves? And all we had at the time was this little like cassette dictaphone thing, and that sounded terrible. But then I got my hands on a cassette 4-track, and that was a big step up because now I could record 4 tracks, and I just got hooked. I taught myself how to use that thing, and I was like, okay, I'm all in. I like set up the basement as like a little studio. I had like the laundry room as the control room, the rest of the basement as the live room. There was an ISO booth, and I recorded the projects I was working on at the time, as well as even a band I wasn't in. So by the time I graduated high school, I had already done like a whole bunch of projects. Now I was still learning, and still stuff I was doing didn't sound very good yet, but it was really good practice. Then I went to college. I studied electrical engineering with an audio emphasis, so I learned some more things about audio there, as well as some very technical things about electrical engineering. And of course kept doing recording in the summers and on the side. And then I got a job at Qualcomm in San Diego, California, to help design chips for cell phones, audio chips. So I came out here to do that, and then also started a little home studio called The Habitat in the Golden Hill area. And there I actually put on a lot of house shows as well, and met a lot of musicians and played in some bands, and recorded those bands and recorded some other bands, and got that whole thing going in San Diego. And in 2010, I bought a property. I had enough space to do a studio. I hired Wes Show, a great studio designer, and took 3 years, but built Rarefied Recording. One thing kind of led to the other, and I didn't ever work in a studio. I always just came up through the independent music and home studio environment, and just mostly taught myself how to do stuff, but as well as, of course, reading books and watching some videos. But a lot of my learning happened before the internet was even around, so I had to really like kind of just do it, which is the best way actually to learn, is just to do it and do it and do it. So, you know, I came up in the world of independent music, of the DIY ethos and all that. So I'm very supportive of independent musicians, and I want them to be able to have access to a space like this. And so one of my goals of Rarefied has been to keep my rates as low as I can, to keep that door open to as many musicians as possible, while still giving them like a world-class studio and a world-class experience and a world-class product. So that's what I do, and I really enjoy working with various musicians, and you know, even people who are just starting out. Yeah, I just love that process of discovery that people have with me, kind of as they're learning about audio and recording. And then, you know, we go from there and hopefully take you to the next step and the next step. So yeah, that's my goal, to create a space that is not only world-class, but also affordable. And I feel like I've achieved that, and it's been really great for this community in San Diego.